Hi, everybody. Welcome to our bonus training today. I am so excited. Invisible laundry. This is one of my favorites because this is such a huge and visible thing in most people's homes. And to make it feel invisible and manageable is such a gift. And I'm so excited to teach this to you today. I would really like your feedback. Go ahead and say hi if you're here in the chat, and remember that questions go in the Q&A if you have a question, but I won't stop and answer questions until the very end, so hopefully most of them get sorted out as we go, but yeah, feel free to go ahead and say hi in the chat and let us know that you're here. I am going to move through this pretty quick because I don't want this to be a super crazy long training. I'm aiming for about 45 minutes, and this is what I want your feedback on. I went ahead and I actually kind of scripted this training so that I could really keep myself on time, and I want you to give me some feedback either on the Facebook group or even just in the chat box, and let me know if this feels too mechanical, and because I'm going to be trying to kind of go by a script as opposed to my normal just from my heart kind of training. That's what I feel like I want to do, is just from my heart kind of training, but I think that's when I get in trouble with timing. So I just want to give you a heads up, those of you who are joining me live, and ask you to give me the feedback of, do you like it to be short and sweet and controlled, or would you rather it be from the heart and kind of just let me give you what I feel inspired to give? I have no attachment to either way, except that they both have pros and cons, but the most important part for me is that the message really reaches you. So that is what I want you to watch out for. I hope this is such good information. So let's get started. When my kids were little, let's see, how do I go forward? There you go. When my kids were little, they really loved to be buried by the mountain. They would burrow in and have me cover them up until they were completely hidden, and then they'd burst out and scare me or scare one of their siblings. And they loved to play on the mountain when it got so big that I could just pick them up and I could throw them into it. I mean, it was awesome if it was on the couch, or especially on my bed. I love this little picture of my two girls and their big cousin. And this is what my typical bed looked like back. You can see this timestamp on this is like 2001. That's a long time ago. But this is what my bed would typically look like, right? Do you have one of those mountains in your house? Yeah, I'm talking about that mountain of laundry. Well, my kids loved the mountain. I didn't. It was a constant reminder that I had something to do. That visual of that mountain, it made me feel hopeless, and it felt never ending. And it was a breeding ground for those negative thoughts, those gremlins that just made me feel bad about myself. It made me feel like I was a terrible housekeeper. I thought things like, why can't I keep up with everything? I'm a failure. This shouldn't be that hard. I was a new mom and thinking, it's just laundry. It can't be this hard, right? It can't be this overwhelming. And I just felt like it was all me. I just thought there was never enough time. It was never going to be done. Why even try? Then I got even more discouraged, and I thought, is this really my life? Is this what it boils down to? A mountain of laundry? And not to mention the embarrassment if someone came over unannounced, right? Because sometimes it would be on the couch in the living room, and it was just humiliating, right? It made me feel like not only did I know I felt like I was a failure, but I thought other people thought I was also. And if you can relate to any part of this story, then I am so glad that you're here and part of this training, because what I learned and what I'm going to teach you is going to be life-changing. You're probably thinking, laundry, invisible, is that even possible? Well, back when I had this mountain of fun in my home, I didn't think so. But I'm here to tell you that it really is. In fact, I'm so excited for you to learn and implement this in your home because seriously, it's so liberating. Whether you realize it or not, that pile that you're used to looking at, it's telling your brain to be overwhelmed. And that also leads to feelings of stress and discouragement. And you'll procrastinate and avoid having to feel the stress. And either that, or you'll waste time numbing or avoiding, or even worse, starting to feel resentful of your family and your home and the things that you're contributing and doing in your home. Back when I was buried by this mountain of laundry, I realized that this was not only, I finally realized that it was not only a problem that I had, but that my sisters and my friends also had too. So I set to work to break it down. This was the biggest, most visible job in the house. And I thought if I could just break this down and get into control of this, then it could be changed, and I could help all my sisters and my friends and those people that were feeling, other people that I talked to that were feeling overwhelmed by the same thing I was. What I discovered as I did this and breaking it down is the changes I made, they were life-changing. And I know I'm all about simple solutions, and sometimes people that I teach might think that the solutions I'm offering are too simple, that they can't really make that big of a difference. I'm telling you, sometimes it's just the simplest answer that makes the biggest difference. So please open your mind and heart to some of these simple things I'm going to teach you and give it a chance, because it is, I tell you, it's been a decade since I even thought about laundry, how it was going to get done, or what needed to be done about it. And it works like clockwork in my house. So it's truly life-changing. When I got control of this one job, I didn't see those mountains of clothes around my house anymore. It was I felt happier. I felt lighter. I felt less burdened. I was more motivated, and it seemed like I actually had more time, right, to do other things, some things that I needed to do, and even things that I wanted to do. I started looking around at how I could simplify other jobs in my house and other responsibilities, and started to get ideas. And I realized, wait, I was being inspired and had all these different ideas because I had freed up not only time, but actually mental space too. And I didn't even realize that mental space was being taken up by something as silly as laundry, right? And don't worry, I'm not going to be teaching you how to strategically hide your laundry. Wouldn't that be nice? But let me reassure you that even doing the laundry and having it actually processed and done, it can be not only unseen, but it can actually be finished. You ever felt like your laundry was finished? Well, done, checked off your list. Don't need to think about it anymore. It's true, it can be. Just because it's a recurring job doesn't mean it needs to require constant brain power. Remember the mental space I mentioned? We're going to make your laundry work like a well-oiled machine, like I was saying it does in my house at this point. And I do have to warn you that there is another result that you might not even know that you want or need. Now, being part of my Wholehearted Home group, we talk about this a lot. And so I'm hoping this isn't going to be a surprise to you guys, but let's be honest. If you wanted to just make your laundry disappear, you could probably hire somebody to do it, right? But let's see. But this system, if you do this system and not just hire it out to get it off your to-do list, if you do this system, you'll not only get your laundry done and make it invisible, but it's going to get your whole family involved, and it's going to contribute to that culture of working together and cooperation. And really, it is one of those systems that organically creates opportunities for personal responsibility to really sink in and be part of the members of your family's fibers, right? It is something that's priceless. This was unexpected. I did not anticipate this when I first implemented this in my house. It was a surprising result. It was a surprising result that not only did my laundry get done, but it actually improved our relationships. Who would have thought that getting the laundry done would help you get along better with my husband or with your husband and my husband and my kids and your kids, but it did. We started to experience that culture developing in our home where we worked together and where we were more aware, and we definitely were less stressed and didn't snap at each other as often because we were much less burdened, right? It was so exciting. I can't wait for you to have those kind of results too. So this is how it's gonna go, okay? I'm gonna tell you the exact steps I took to get my results, and some of those steps are key. They can't be skipped, okay? These are essential elements. They're just the linchpins that hold the whole thing together, and I'll make sure you know which ones are which, okay? So there are key steps that I don't consider optional. I think they're those simple solutions that have big results, okay? But there's also some piece of cake tips, is what I call them, that they just make things easier. They make things more manageable. If you do everything that I suggest, both the key steps and the piece of cake tips, then you'll have fast, long-lasting results, but it's totally up to you. If it's overwhelming, then just take it in phases and only do the essentials by implementing the key things first and then gradually adding the other things over time. Give yourself permission to just be imperfect at doing this. Change can be hard. It doesn't happen overnight. Give yourself permission to make mistakes, test things out, and make adjustments as you need to, okay? I've broken it down into 3 parts. Let's see. Can't remember what I put on my slide. Oh, let's see. Oh, there you go. Family culture, personal responsibility. Well, I've broken it down into 3 parts. The first part, we're going to talk about setting yourself up for success by involving your family, understanding expectations of what personal responsibility is for each person, and eliminating the excess and organizing what you have in a smart way, okay? And in the second part, we're going to talk about the tools that you need to make it all work. And in the third part, I'll walk you through what it actually looks like on a weekly basis and how all the elements fit together, okay? So, part 1, setting yourself up for success. Okay, the key element in setting yourself up for success, this is key, all right, is stop taking care of other people's clothes. This isn't your job. It's not your job. It's not the cleaning ladies. It's not the kid you assign it to as a chore. Stop thinking it. Stop saying it. Stop perpetuating that mindset. If you only learn one thing from this entire training, this is it. When you stop seeing laundry as one giant mountain of a job and start seeing it clearly as each individual person's responsibility, and it really starts to become small, manageable pieces that it really, truly is. And right off the bat, it'll feel doable. Quit looking at it as the biggest, most giant job in the world, in the whole house. And because that's what it feels like. I know that's how it felt like to me. But when I looked at it as one individual person at a time, or in just those small little pieces, it already feels more manageable, okay? Think about it. Half the work of laundry, I mean, if you really think about it, half the work of the laundry is done by these really cool machines. All we have to do is feed the machine, and really the machine takes it from there. The only part that you can't, and actually that part of feeding the machines, that's actually the only part you should ever delegate to another person, okay? The other half is really our 100% our personal responsibility. It's the part where our clothes get from our bodies to the machines, and from the machines to where we put them back so that they can be put back on our bodies, right? So allowing this half of the job to be sloughed off onto someone else, it actually robs an individual, especially a child, that is learning these essential habits that build self-confidence and makes them feel more capable, and will help start to shape their self-concept. It not only robs them of those things if you take it away from them, but it will take away that organic benefit that comes from them learning to be aware of how they affect their their, you know, their personal care and upkeep affects the home around them, because their clothes, if they don't take care of them, it affects the home around them. And they also, one of the positive things about this is that they'll start to feel needed, and they'll start, it goes right along with the belonging, the needing, the being a contributing part of your home, okay, a member of your home. I'm a huge proponent, as you know, of families working together and learning responsibility because of this, because of that organic benefit that comes, and how huge of a difference it can make. Taking care of your own clothes is simple, and it's a logical job that can give you the benefits of learning personal responsibility. It's one of my 3 that I don't think you should ever outsource. I know I've mentioned those in the past, the 3 jobs I don't think you should ever outsource, and one of them is taking care of your own clothes. The minimum of what this looks like is that every person, adult or kid alike, every day are responsible to put their clothes in the dirty clothes in a hamper, and once a week take care of their clean clothes. And that's it. It's just part of our daily dues, right? And those are the things that we're going to start implementing this week. In this week ahead, we're going to start introducing those types of things to our kids, and that as a standard, as well as, I know you guys have been working on it for the past couple of weeks about establishing those patterns in your own daily routine. We're going to start taking that to the rest of your family. And really, if you think about it, that putting your dirty clothes in a hamper and just taking care of your own personal clean clothes is like 15-30 minutes a week spread over the whole week. It's not really that much to ask of just one person, right? And if you're thinking, you know, I'm never going to get my family to do this, I would suggest that you just start thinking better of them. We have been learning and how to combat gremlins. That's a gremlin that's not about yourself, it's about your family. And on Monday, we're going to talk about taking care of gremlins that we have that are directed towards other people. So make sure you tune into our training on our mentor meeting on Monday for that. So here is a couple of piece of cake elements for this part 1 that's going to make this easy. And the first thing you need to do, we're on part 1, which is setting yourself up for success. So the first thing, the key element is don't take responsibility for other people's clothes. That's the key element, okay? And these are just some manageable little tips that if you do these things also, you are really setting yourself up for this to be manageable and easy. And remember the formula, sorry, I'm going off script, but remember the formula for inspire, not require. One of the key things to inspire your family to actually do what you want them to do is to make it easy for them to accomplish what you're asking, to make sure they have everything they need. That's why these piece of cake tips are. This is making it so you're eliminating excuses, you're eliminating problems before they even happen. You're anticipating and making it more manageable, okay? So take these seriously. I know I say they're optional, but I just recommend you doing everything I tell you to do. But anyway, make it personable to you, make it customized to you, but listen to the reasons why and try and ask questions if you need some customization, okay? So tip number 1. I want you to get rid of excess. And I mean going through and getting rid of extra clothes. But I want you to start with you first, okay? So why I'm telling you to do this, why I want you to get rid of clothes is excess gives you permission to go longer and longer between laundry days. And when you have tons of clothes, you can actually get away with not taking care of your clothes because you can put them aside and not wash them or fold them. And you can let a basket just stack up because you got plenty more in your closet, right? Kids are even less concerned with making their laundry invisible because they just want mom off their backs. When they have manageable amount of clothes, you are really setting them up for success because it is so much easier to take care of. And one of the things the way I suggest that you do this, and on the Simply Inspired Solutions sisterhood group. If you use the search bar in the group and search hashtag P2P, you can find tips on how to declutter your clothes. I'm going to just briefly go through a few here, but I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this because we did a declutter challenge on that group, and there is lots of tips on how to do that day to day, and even the order to do it. So, and it is broken down into 30-minute increments with one category a day. So I encourage you, if you want some tips on how to do that, to look there instead of not doing it because you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Okay. But I'm going to give you just a few basic tips now. So I suggest you actually sort through your clothes one category at a time. For example, pull all your shirts and tops out of your closet, your drawers, your hampers, your laundry, everywhere, until you have everything that you own in this one category. And I just want you to dump it either on your floor or on your bed, so everything's all in one spot. Okay. And this really gives you a visual of how much you really have of one thing. Not if you do it with all your clothes at the same time, it's just going to be a giant mess and it'll feel overwhelming. But if you're just looking at just your shirts, you're really comparing apples to apples. And it's easier to see what you really need to keep and how many of you have, when you can see how many you have of them. Like, you don't need 14 button down white shirts when you only ever grab your one or two favorites. But when you have everything all together, you realize, oh my gosh, I really have that many of that type of shirt. Or one of mine is I have a million white undershirts that I wear under a lot of my shirts to make sure, things aren't too short or, don't slip or anything like that and show things I don't want shown. And I have a bazillion of them. And I do have my clothes very organized, so I know exactly how many I have. But that, when I first did this the first time, that was one of the things I was like, I cannot believe I have like 25 of these. I didn't even know I had this many because I kept them in too many places. But anyway, that's just an example. And when you're going through the category, keep the things that you love, keep the things that truly make you happy, but don't keep things that you think you're supposed to keep for some reason. Like, well, I'll talk about that in a second. Just don't keep things that you think you're supposed to keep. Only keep things that you really love, the things that make you happy, the things that you wear, you use, right? Get rid of garbage clothes. Things that are worn out, don't fit, have stains, or things that you don't wear. You don't need to hang on to that type of stuff. Your clothes that you want to fit into, they do not need to be in your main storage. They don't need to be in your closet. They don't need to be hanging. They don't need prime real estate in where you take care of your clothes. Okay. And the reason why this matters is the easier your clothes are to put away, because there's not too much in your closet or not too much in your drawers, the more likely your laundry will actually get done. So you want to get rid of the things in your closet and that are taking up space, even if you're like, well, it never gets into laundry anyway. It's making it harder for you to put your laundry away. Okay. If you have clothes that you want to fit into and you just don't want to let them go, then put them in storage, not in the space in your closets or your drawers, okay? And minimize your good clothes. You have too many of them. I know, because you're talking about the mountain of laundry that, you're trying to get a hold of, and your closet's not empty, even though you have a mountain of laundry. You don't have to have a scarcity mindset about this. And this is what I was going to say when I said, I'll talk to that in a minute. Sometimes we think we're supposed to keep things because we might need them, or we're supposed to keep something because it was sentimental from this particular, from so-and-so's wedding, or, different reasons like that, things that we think we're supposed to. If you're never going to wear it again and it's from something special, just acknowledge, take a picture of it, put it in an album, just acknowledge, you know what I mean? You have record of it. You don't need to keep it if you don't want to. If you love it and it brings you joy, or you want to put it in your kids' dress up, knock yourself out. It doesn't need to be in your closet, right? And if you think you're going to run out of clothes, you don't need to have that scarcity mindset. You're not in danger of running out. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the mountain and a full closet, right? I would actually challenge you to reduce your good clothes by at least 30%. So when you pull all that, whatever category you're working on, when you pull it all onto your bed, I want you to look at it and you need to get rid of at least a third of that clothes. And you could even go higher, but I would say that's a good starting point. And things that are essential, like underwear or underclothing or socks or whatever like that, I like to keep a minimum amount of them, which makes it so it's not really optional to let laundry day go for 3 weeks. I literally have 8 to 10 pairs of the essentials, and that's it, because I don't, when a week comes around and it's laundry day, I only have 1 or 2 days. I don't even have 1 or 2 days on some things to have grace, you know what I mean? Because I just don't keep that much. Same with, especially with your kids, the number of shirts and pants can be minimal. Everyday shirts, kids need probably 10, plus specialty clothes like things for dressing up or maybe a uniform or something like that. Pants, you can have 5 or 6 for a specific season, because pants can be worn more than once, right? Exercise wear, really look at your exercise wear and think, many times do I exercise? How many do I need for a week or maybe a week and a half? And over and above that, you may consider just getting rid of to free your space. And then this is the nemesis that no one wants to talk about, and it's comfy clothes. You might be tempted to stack things away that you wouldn't wear out of the house and call them your lounge clothes. But really, how many lounge clothes does one person need? Okay. You might have 1 or 2 great comfy clothes outfits that you wear when you decompress in the evenings, but you don't need 15 of them. And really, who says that everyday clothes can't be comfortable? Why do we even have to designate certain clothes as comfy clothes as a category, right? There is so much wisdom in having clothes that are multifunctional. They should be both comfortable and presentable. And you don't need 10 pair of flannel pants that you shouldn't wear out of your house, okay? And this goes right along with what we've been talking about when it comes to our daily do's. Okay, we shouldn't be wearing clothes that are not presentable, because you will actually make you less productive. So get rid of the comfy clothes and make it a practice of getting dressed into clothes that you feel comfortable in. Okay, and research has shown that the more presentable your clothes are, the more productive you are. So put down the comfy clothes. And you also don't need 20 paint shirts or project shirts, okay? 1, maybe 2 at the most is all you need. Once you've done this for yourself, you can help your kids do it. And make it fun. Make it a fun time with mom. Grab some boxes or baskets and label them trash, donate, store, needs help, and keep. Okay, and there's a process for this, and you're going to do the same thing. You pull out all the shirts, just do it 1 category at a time, process every article of clothing, and let them help you by tossing things into the sorting bins. And that's why we use boxes or baskets, just because it's easy and fun to toss them into, right? And this is not a time to have power struggles with your kids, okay? If they have a hard time parting with something, or you have a hard time parting with something, consider putting it in the store or the needs help baskets, okay? Because store is for things that you love, but you like the things you want to fit into, or things that can be used by a younger sibling, or maybe they have sentimental value, or maybe they're seasonal items. Put it in the tote to store it to get it out later. It doesn't need to be in your usable space in your closet, right? And then things that need help, that's the box when you're going through with your kids, that are things that need repairing. Maybe they're stained, that they need one last attempt. They're really those things that kids, or even you, just can't make yourself part with. But for one reason or another, you know, like they mean something, or they're just your favorite something, but you're actually not really using. They're just in there, but because they have something that needs to be done to them, you can't wear them, right? This is, and having that storage box, it's just like that baby step. I know if you are really trying to minimize your space, then skip the baby step. But if you need it to have this baby step, it's totally okay. You, instead of throwing them out, you put them in the needs help tote. And you may even do the repairs, but more likely than not, you'll come back to that storage later, and the emotions about that item will have dissipated because it's been out of sight, out of mind, and you'll be able to get rid of them later on. And get rid of extra linens and towels. This is the other laundry thing that piles up and can feel overwhelming. There's a couple ways to get rid of linens. I would do it by category, exactly the same as we do our clothing. You know, pull all of the towels from a certain bathroom, or all the same types of towels, hand towels, washcloths, those kind of things. Do it by category. But when it comes to bed sheets, every bed in your house only needs one set of replacement sheets at most. And I would designate which bed has which set of replacement sheets. One, to be on it should have one set of sheets on the bed while the other is being washed. And you can even minimize that in half. You can have one set of sheets on bed that gets washed and gets put right back on a bed. That's totally up to you. But if you want to do it to where you can strip the bed and immediately make it again, then every bed, it needs at least one, but no more than that. We don't need entire linen closets full of sheets. We don't even remember what size they are because they are, there's so many of them, right? You can even store those in the same room as the bed that they go to make it easy to access between washing. You also don't need tons of towels. I mean, how many people ever stay at your house at one time, right? Do you ever really have 15 people sleeping over? Probably not. You don't need to store that many towels. So go ahead and break down that linen closet by category and get rid of things. Also on the declutter challenge on the Facebook group, there are ideas on how to store things. That I know there was a tutorial about how to fold sheets, how to store them easily, how to roll your towels so they look nicer on your shelves, as well as make it easier to get out of things. So check those posts out on our Facebook group, that the Simply Inspired Solutions Sisterhood. Okay. All right. So step 2, this next piece of cake step is make your storage age appropriate. So it's never too early to teach your kids to care for their personal belongings. All right. Even when they're really young, they can help you if you make it possible for them. They can help themselves take care of their things if you can help them make it possible. If you or someone else has to do it all because you've hung your 4-year-old's clothes on a bar that's 3 feet above their heads, which, by the way, is daunting to a child, okay? That's not only frustrating and stressful, but you're actually robbing that child, who is really capable of helping with their clothes, of that opportunity to start learning to be responsible for their personal belongings. And we take the learning opportunity away, and then we wonder why our kids and our spouse even never pick anything up. They walk by things in the house and they don't even notice. It goes back to this personal responsibility and giving them the opportunity to be aware of how they personally affect the space around them. Okay, so take a step back and see what clothing options do they have that can be put in a bin. I'm talking for little kids, where a little kid can be given a laundry basket of clean clothes and are able to sort. A little kid, I mean, as little as 2 or 3, can be like, oh, these are socks, they go in this basket, or oh, these are underwear, they go here, without having to have the dexterity or the maturity to fold it neatly or to tuck it into a drawer. A 3 or 4-year-old might have a hard time hanging clothes on a hanger and putting them away in a tall closet, but they can sort pants and socks and underwear into a basket on a shelf. So step back and think about that. And for your teens or even your husband, you might ask, how they feel about their clothes storage. Do they have enough room? What problems come up when they're trying to put things away, and help them problem solve from there. Is there something that you could provide that would make it easier, like shelves or dividers, or maybe hangers all the same size or shape, whatever it is? Any of those things could make putting clothes away more simple, even quicker, and it greatly increases the chance that it'll get done. When it comes to any cleaning up in your house, any tidying up in your house, it is not, sometimes we think we want things to be placed or organized in a way that makes them easy to get out when we need them, but that's not what you should be focused on. You want to make it easy to put away. If you need something, you're going to get it no matter if it's difficult to get any or not. But putting it away is an entirely different story, right? So making something simple to put away is the focus you should be having here. And I'm going to go off script again really quick. And just a side note, I know that there are a lot of fabulous, wonderful advice out there. And I know it's really trendy right now to be the magic of tidying up and those types of things, which you obviously can see that I think there are things that she teaches, the Marie what's her name? Marie Kondo, is that her name? I can't remember what her name is, but exactly. But anyway, she has some really brilliant suggestions. The category thing, I totally think is perfect, a suggestion, and it is brilliant. But she goes into extreme detail, and there's a lot of other advice out there too about these special ways to fold and how to organize them in your closet for, the energy of your clothes and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that that's not a good thing, but when you are teaching your kids to start out with, and the first focus should be worried about is teaching your kids personal responsibility and creating a system, okay? If once everybody has those kind of habits and this is going smoothly, then you can worry about your socks feelings, okay? But don't worry about that. Don't make those kind of next level concerns your priority right now, okay? And you might have tons of really beautiful little clothes for your kids, and you love to see them in their closet and just looking so beautiful, like you want to take a picture of it and put it on Instagram. I know that organization or that beauty of their closet might make you happy, because you're like, oh, look, it's like a craft project, right? It's this decorating project, or you see these beautiful things put together and you're just like, oh, I love it. But ask yourself, is that really the stage that you're at right now? Is that really the goal? Because their clothes and how they store their clothes is such a huge part of learning personal responsibility. And if you can sink in personal responsibility to kids, I tell you, this is a game changer. You will not be the mom that has to bark all the time at everyone picking their stuff up. You might have to gently remind people every once in a while, but because your kids will have it ingrained to them, their personal responsibility, there's no fight about it. It's just like, oh yeah, thanks. And they do it. It's like no big deal, because it's just what you do. You have a culture where everybody is responsible, everyone is aware. And so exchanging that benefit for those picture perfect closets or all the matching, this or that, instead of making it easy and age appropriate for your kid to be able to put stuff away, you're really shooting yourself in the foot. And I say that with lots of love, because I love beautiful things. I love things that are organized. It's just not your kids' clothes in a picture perfect, unreasonable way to have things all up. Like I said, you don't need to have a perfect closet of 4-year-olds' clothes hung on hangers and on a bar that they can't even reach. Okay? Enough said. I'll get off my soapbox and get back to what we were saying. All right, step number 3. Everyone in your house needs to have a hamper. Now, I don't mean that every person in your house has to have their own hamper. but you do need to have enough to hold not only a week's worth of clothes, but to actually be able to contain it neatly so that you can keep dirty clothes out of sight. This is one of those invisible parts, okay? While they're waiting to be fed into the machines, you know, those cool things that do the laundry for you. So if you're currently using a single hamper for your family of 5 in a bathroom or in a hall that everyone's supposed to put their clothes into for the week, it's not realistic. It's not big enough to hold a week's worth of clothes, and it's not convenient enough for everyone to follow through with putting their clothes away. Because when your clothes are dirty, where you put dirty clothes is in the hamper. So it's the same principle as making it easy to put them away when they're clean. Dirty clothes, putting them away is in a hamper. So it needs to be convenient. Everyone should have a hamper within just a few feet of where they typically get dressed, undressed, or dressed. Ideally in their room or just outside of their bedrooms if there's space limited, like if they're sharing rooms or if you're sharing a hamper between a couple of bedrooms, okay? And they typically, I use about 1 hamper for every 2 people in my house, maybe 3 if they're little kids, okay? And this leads us right in to part 2, which is gathering the tools that you need, all right? And the key tools that you need are hampers and clean clothes baskets. Okay, so moving on with the hampers, let me describe. As we've just been discussing, you may need to get more hampers for your house, or even replace the ones that you have if they aren't working for you. So ideally, hampers should have 3 characteristics. They should be attractive, okay, because they're not always going to be hidden in someone's closet. A hamper hidden in someone's closet is not very usable. It doesn't make it easy for them to put their dirty clothes away. So make them attractive. Find ones that you like the way they look. It should have some kind of lid and they should be easy to move. The more attractive they are, well, you want them to be attractive because if you don't, you're going to try and hide them. And that makes it less likely that they're going to be used. This also is why I don't recommend using mesh hampers or see-through hampers. A hamper that is tucked away out of sight is out of mind. You want it to be where someone can get dressed and easily toss their dirty clothes into it instead of being tempted to leave them on the chair or on the floor for later, okay? And some kind of lid, 2 obvious reasons. Keeps the dirty clothes out of sight and it contains any smells, okay? I have a great reusable bamboo. I have those bamboo odor absorbing bags, and we hang them inside each hamper, which really makes those fabulous also. But your hampers also need to be easy to move. So if your laundry is on the same floor as your bedrooms, then you might consider hampers that have wheels. Or if it's on another floor, make sure it has handles and that it has an easy way to be carried, and that the hamper isn't too big to be easily carried, okay? And then the second key element, so hampers is first. The second is clean clothes baskets. So everybody in your house needs a clean clothes basket. And they should be all exactly the same size and shape. Okay, this makes them super easy to stack and store on top of the dryer or on a shelf above your machines so that they're out of sight except for when we're using them. These baskets don't need to be big, giant jumbo baskets. They just need to be big enough to hold 1 week, 1 week's worth of one person's clothing. In part 3, so in the next part, I'll tell you how we're going to use them. But just for now, just get them gathered. Each basket should be labeled. You can even color code them or make them easier to identify. You can do this as simple as you want. It could be, writing on the side of the basket with a Sharpie. Or if you want to do something cutesy, make a cute tag that's tied onto the basket with a colored ribbon. And you could use washi tape around the handle that's different colors to color code it. Whatever you want to do. I think the washi tape is really easy because it's just by color and it's really easy to see and it doesn't get ripped off and there's nothing dangling that can fall off. It's just quick. So I think that's my preferred method, but you can do it really any way you want. And then, okay, so your piece of cake tips for this section of the tools is these might not apply to everyone. That's why they're not a key element, is because these are really only for the people like me. I do not have a laundry room in my house. My laundry room is a closet, right? So these are really tips for people who have small spaces in their house. This is totally optional, but I found it very helpful, especially if your house is like mine and has just a closet instead of a laundry room, or if you have limited space. I would suggest getting 3 to 5 wash pile baskets, depending on how many types of loads that you do, loads of laundry that you do. And they should be big enough to fit 1 load of laundry only. So they're not huge baskets, okay? These are baskets that people can sort their dirty clothes into instead of making piles on the floor. You can label each basket, and it can be in a basket or a hamper, okay? Label each basket for easy sorting. Once the clothes you have are sorted into the baskets, they can be stacked full of clothes, but you just stack them on top of each other, and you can put them on top of your dryer so that you can shut your closet door and you just basically take the top basket off, put it in the hamper, and then that basket can go onto the shelf and just keep emptying a basket at a time and put them on the shelf. That way you don't have to have laundry in the piles in your hall. It's one of those things that just keeps it invisible, okay? Let's see. And then the other thing is, the second tip is a hanging bar in your closet or your shower. If you have clothes that need to hang dry, a place above, if you're in a closet, I like to put a hanging bar. We have a hanging bar that goes right, it's just an extra closet bar that we hung above the washer and dryer in the closet. Another option is to add an additional shower rod in a nearby bathroom. So you do a shower rod either above your washing machine and dryer in the closet, or you can put it above, it goes in the center of your shower, but is higher than your the nozzle, so it doesn't get in the way of you showering or anything like that. You don't even notice it. The one I have in our bathroom, it does. I don't even notice it. I only notice it if I have to hang something. But that way you can hang clothes that need to be dry and pull your shower curtain shut, and you can't see it. And so that again adds to your clothes being visible. All right, so let's recap really quick. So we've talked about 3 key elements. Don't take care of other people's clothes. Everyone gets the opportunity to learn and practice personal responsibility by putting their dirty clothes into hampers, taking care of their own clean clothes on laundry day, and some piece of cake tips that make these easier for them are getting rid of the excess linens and clothes, making sure that every person's clothes are organized in an age-appropriate way so that they can actually do most, if not all, of the work, and make sure they have access to a hamper. The second key element is getting the right kinds of hampers, not get rid. Get rid of any hampers that don't work and get the right kinds of hampers. They need to be attractive with a lid, and they need to be easy to move so they can get the laundry to the machines. Every person gets their own clean clothes basket. They are all going to be the same size, kept together in the laundry room or closet to be out of sight, and make sure you label each and make it easily identifiable for everyone to know whose basket is whose, okay? One way is optional if needed. Oh, well, one of the other things that we just talked about is if you need it, if you have small spaces, is to get 3 to 5 labeled wash pile baskets to hide loads while they're waiting to be washed. Or you could even use hampers that, hampers that are fixed hampers, but that's typically if you have an actual laundry room. I like the baskets because I don't like things that are permanent out in the space. So, and then install an out-of-the-way hanging bar either above your machines or an extra curtain rod in a nearby shower to hide clothes that need to be hung dry. So, you've gathered all your tools, you've set up your family for success. Now we need to see how it all works, okay? So how it works, Oops. This is how it works. First element is you need to choose a laundry day. Okay, key element, choose a laundry day. I don't know why I don't have a slide for this. How funny. Well, you know, choose a laundry day. Choose a day each week to do laundry and keep it the same each week. And make sure your family knows when it is. Choose a day that you're going to be typically home and when you can get it done in a timely manner. If you have a schedule that makes doing laundry all in one day hard, then separate your laundry into people or hampers, not types of loads. Now I want to repeat that because this is one of those things that people do differently, and this is one of the things that makes laundry never go away. Okay, if you have to separate your laundry into different days of the week because it's too much to do in one day, separate it by people or hamper, not by types of loads. So don't do, for example, you would do on Monday would be parents' clothes, and then maybe Wednesday would be Tina and Ben's clothes, and Friday would be Tom and Jane's clothes, not by like Monday whites, Wednesday jeans. That makes it so laundry is never finished. If you keep it, if you keep it by a people or a certain hamper gets done on a certain day, this keeps the jobs doable, but it also allows the person who's putting away their clothes to be finished with the clothes for a whole week and not dragging it out to where every single day there's stuff to do. Okay, so remember that brain space we want to use on other things. We just don't want to have to think about laundry every single day. Once a week is all that's needed. So each person who's taking care of their own clothes needs to only have to worry about it once a week, not every single day. Think realistically, laundry for 1 week for 1 to 2 people, it's like 2 to 3 loads max. And if you and 3 loads if you have like delicates or some specialty clothes, you know, because there's not that many clothes that 2 people wear in 1 week. They're very small. So you can usually do a light colored or white or light colored and then a dark colored clothes, unless you want to separate whites and lights or delicates and lights and darks, you know, that type of thing. And that means it can easily be done in an evening, even if you are gone during the day. Because a typical machine takes about an hour and a half per load to run. So that's easily something done even in like a 3 to 4 hour time period, which is plenty of time after school or after work, that type of thing. If you have a large family of more than 5 people, you might want to break it up anyway, even if you have full days that you can do it all together. It simply makes it more manageable. And it can also give older kids an opportunity to care for their clothes from start to finish. And that's a life skill that they just need to learn. I remember when I moved out of the house, which my sweet mother, she was just like the bomb. She was an awesome 50s mom, but she had that mentality that she did most of the work. And I did not know even how to turn on a washing machine when I went to college. And I remember the first time having to do laundry and actually calling my mom and saying, what am I supposed to do? I just want to give my kids an opportunity to learn that now when it's not stressful or overwhelming. And they'll start out a lot further ahead than I did, even though my sweet mom did the best she could. And she was awesome. It just wasn't the era of time that she grew up in. That's just not, kids didn't do that. That was women's work. And that's just how she lived, when we were younger. Now I think we've graduated from that and know that we want our kids to be more independent and want them to have those life skills and learned before they have to do them for themselves. So if you're going to break up your family laundry days, I would suggest grouping parents together, either alone or maybe add a small kid like a baby or something with the parents' clothes. But I would suggest grouping kids of different sizes together or gender together to make sorting clean clothes quick and easy. But if you're doing it by hamper, that's also a good way to sort. You don't want to have, but yeah, if it's difficult for the person who is switching the loads to know what clothes go in what people's baskets, you're going to need to mark clothes. Okay, so if you do have something like 2 teenage girls that do laundry together, whoever is in charge of sorting or changing the laundry loads is going to need to know whose clothes are whose. And so you might need to have to mark clothes. And this is the next little piece of cake tip. If you're doing those types of things. It might make it easier to identify whose clothes are whose if you have a color-coded tag. Most clothes these days don't have tags that you can write people's names on anymore, which is lovely to wear, but it's hard for this type of thing. So you can use like embroidery floss to make a little mark, or even sew a loop of ribbon on a side seam, since a lot of things don't have tags anymore. Some of these things I'm telling you again, I just want to reiterate, these might sound super simple, but I promise you they actually have, when they work together, they have big results. And the less thinking this job takes, the easier and more likely it will be to get done and be done fast. So if things like taking the time to have everybody sew a little something inside their clothes that says this is mine, or splitting up laundry to where it's obvious, like you have a little kid and a big kid that do laundry together, so it's obvious which ones go into their cleaning baskets. That's just going to make it easier for you. Okay, it's going to make it take a lot less thinking power and a lot less stress for whoever's in charge of it. Okay, on your laundry day, whether you do the laundry alone or with a partner, or if the whole family's doing it together, everyone's responsibility is going to look exactly the same on laundry day, okay? The only job that can be different is feeding those machines, okay? Changing the loads. Only one person needs to be responsible for that, and you can decide who that is. When we get later on, when we are doing chore tickets in our group here, and I'm teaching you how to distribute work, changing the laundry loads and sorting the clean clothes into baskets will be one of the tickets that people can choose, or you can assign it. It could be you, great if you want, or it can even be one of your older kids who don't do chore tickets anymore. It could just be their stewardship, and we'll learn about those in a little while, and not in a little while today, but a little later in our program. If you want to hire this out, that's up to you, but I'm not sure that it's the best use of your money. Because someone who's doing laundry and all they're doing is feeding the machine, it would have to be at your house for long periods of time and really doing minimal work. I'm just saying. I don't know that it's the best thing to hire out. Really, this is a super easy job, and it takes minimal time and even less effort, since you have these really cool machines that do all of it for you. When the clothes are clean and dried, the person in charge of changing the loads should just take the clothes out of the dryer and sort them into each of the person's clean clothes basket. Everyone else, this is all they do on laundry day. This is what you need. Everyone should already have been putting their dirty clothes into their conveniently located hampers each day. So they should be ready to take to the laundry room on laundry day. And kids are reminded of when their laundry days are because of it is written right next to their name on your command station board. So you remember this week we wrote every person in your house's name on your command station. The first thing next to their name should be a little like 3-letter code, like MON for Monday or whatever, as to when their laundry day is. That's the first tracking thing that you're going to use that list on your command station for. So that helps them remember it's their day, and helps you at a glance as you're looking at your command station know who should be doing that. And you can help them, remind them as the habit is starting to establish. On laundry day, when it's their day, they just take, or they help take, if they're sharing a hamper, their hamper to the laundry room and empty it into either the washing piles or the baskets. So if you have baskets that you're going to sort the washing piles into, have them sort into those because they're easily labeled, right? They're clearly labeled. Or if you have specific designations for washing piles in a laundry room. And that's it. They just take their hamper back. And then at the end of the day, they pick up their clean clothes basket, take it to the room, they fold, sort, and put them away and return their empty basket to the laundry room. That's it. So simple, so doable. And folding and putting away only 1 week's worth of clothes for one person takes like 5-10 minutes. That is not too much to ask of any one person in your family, but it is a lot to ask to say, fold the family clothes, and it's a mountain, right? And when they're doing it for themselves, they are reaping invaluable benefits while practicing habits of personal responsibility. You can even make this a game with your kids if you want. You can set a timer and see who can do it the fastest, or have a Superb award that you give away each week. You could even choose different attributes to reward as your family is learning to embrace this, to like kind of help it be fun, so that you have a chance to recognize different strengths. So, and it gives everyone a turn to be acknowledged and gives them ideas of areas they can improve on. So maybe one week you'd give it to Sally for the neatest stacked t-shirts. Maybe the next week you would give it to Jack because he got his done without being reminded. You know, you get the idea. Just look at, don't have it always be the same thing that like maybe the oldest kid or the most talented or the most kid with the most dexterity is able to do best. You know, reward different things so that encourages everybody to keep trying and to keep trying to improve. Reward the behavior that you want repeated, and make sure to look for good at all levels of the learning. And that just like I said, encourages everyone to keep trying and growing. And that's it. I have to tell you, I haven't thought about laundry for almost a decade. Like I said earlier, the system has worked in my family and it grows with your family. I've never had to change the fundamentals over the years. As people's schedules change, or we've swapped rooms, we've had to do small tweaks where needed, like changing the laundry days or sharing different hampers. But the basics have always stayed the same because it just works. And let's just really quickly recap what we've done. So the recap of what you've learned. First, you need to recognize that everyone is responsible for their own clothes. We talked about how to make it easy by getting rid of excess. We talked about the need to make everything have age-appropriate storage. And we want to make sure that everyone has all the necessary tools they need to be successful, like hampers that are handy, movable, attractive, closed, and enough of them for everyone. And making sure that every person has their own labeled clean clothes basket. And then there's two simple solutions to help keep your laundry out of sight on laundry day is to have baskets to sort dirty clothes piles into for washing, and to install a hanging rod for hanging dry clothes out of sight. Oops. Now on laundry day, all you have to do is remember that one person should be in charge of changing the laundry loads and sorting the clean clothes into each person's basket. Every individual is responsible for putting their dirty clothes in the hamper, emptying or helping to empty their hamper into the laundry piles for washing on their laundry day, putting away clean laundry, and returning their empty baskets to the laundry room. Third, help encourage your family as they learn to take responsibility by making it fun and recognizing efforts and contributions in the small ways. If you implement this system, even if it's only the key elements, you will see dramatic shift in your home, in your laundry. Your laundry will not only be invisible, but you'll start to feel like you have more time and mental space. Your family will get along better. What? Who knew? Your kids will stand a little taller. They'll feel a little more capable. They'll be braver. They'll have opportunities, and they'll be a little bit braver as they have opportunities that come their way. They'll recognize it and more apt to grab onto those and take those opportunities. I invite you to try it. See the difference it can make in your home. I'd love to hear your successes. Post your triumphs in pictures too if you want on our Facebook group. And thank you guys so much for, I'm going to stop my share here. Where did it go? Okay, hopefully that stopped the share. Can you guys see me? Okay, good. All right, so looks like there is one question. Says, do you recommend not putting clothes in a dresser for a 4-year-old, or what is the best way to store for small kids' clothes? So for that young, I do think that bins or baskets are some of the best ways to do it. If you want to do it in a dresser, that's fine. What I wouldn't do is be really rigid about how to put it in the dresser. So maybe it would be you would pull out a drawer and you'd have sections where different pieces go. A 3 or 4-year-old can learn to fold a shirt. You know, they can hold their shirt up to them and fold their arms in half, and, you know, just do really easy ways to learn to fold. But things like socks and underwear and things that it's just too much of, I would just use sections in order to do that type of thing, and not worry a ton about how things are folded, but that it's easily, where they go is easily designated. Does that make sense? So a drawer can be overwhelming because things just get mixed around, and it just looks, it gets really messy and hard for a child at that age to process what's happening in that big of a mess. That's why I recommend bins, either on a shelf, which I think is super easy, or if you have to do a dresser because you don't have the shelf space or the available space to do that type of storage, then put sections in the drawers. You can use shoe boxes. It doesn't have to be something deluxe or anything like that, but helps them kind of compartmentalize and be able to easily easily distinguish what goes where. Well, that's the only question that we have. So if you have anything else that you want to ask, good luck. Go ahead and post it into the Facebook group. Good luck, you guys. I am super excited to see and hear about how this affects your family and how this is dramatically going to change one of the biggest, most visible jobs in most people's homes. So good luck, and I'll talk to you later.